The storm-lashed window of the remote Bar Harbor research facility showed only a churning black sea, but it was the internal monitor that truly mirrored the abyss. Sarah watched in frozen horror as the deep-sea sonar, usually a canvas of empty blue, pulsed with an impossibly vast organic anomaly. A single, guttural shriek tore through the silence of the lab, not from the tempest outside, but from the depths of the ocean itself, promising that something ancient had awakened and was calling to her. Sarah clutched her mug of lukewarm coffee, its warmth a futile defense against the pervasive chill of the Bar Harbor Marine Research Facility. Her isolated post, perched precariously on a jagged cliff overlooking the tumultuous Atlantic, felt less like a scientific outpost and more like a solitary sentinel against the storm now battering the coast of Maine. Rain hammered against the reinforced windows, and the wind howled like a banshee, a relentless symphony of chaos. It was her third consecutive night shift, tracking anomalous deep-sea seismic activity, and the solitude was beginning to fray her nerves. The facility, designed for resilience, groaned under the onslaught, its metal frame creaking like an old ship. She loved the ocean, its mysteries, but tonight, its dark, endless expanse felt menacing, sentient. Her mentor, Dr. Evans, had insisted on this solo assignment, believing the quiet focus would yield breakthroughs. Instead, it was yielding a creeping sense of dread. The only light came from her array of monitors, casting a ghostly blue glow on her tired face. She had spent hours analyzing the strange rhythmic pulses originating from a previously uncharted trench miles offshore. The readings defied all known geological patterns, too regular, too organic, almost like a heartbeat. The sheer scale of the energy readings was unprecedented. She leaned closer to the main sonar display, watching the green lines dance, searching for a pattern, a logical explanation, but finding only an ever-deepening enigma that resonated with the storm outside. The rhythmic pulses from the deep intensified, a steady, ponderous beat that seemed to seep into the very foundations of the facility. Sarah dismissed the growing unease, attributing it to sleep deprivation and the storm's relentless assault on her senses. Then, the first anomaly appeared on her hydrophone feed. A low-frequency sound, unlike anything she had ever recorded from marine life or geological shifts. It was a guttural hum, almost infrasonic, a sound that she felt more than heard, vibrating in her chest cavity. She adjusted the filters, tried to isolate the source, but it remained elusive, a pervasive, unsettling thrum. The lights in her lab flickered momentarily, plunging the room into near darkness before surging back to full intensity. She glanced at the power grid diagnostics. Everything showed stable. She shrugged, attributing it to the storm playing havoc with the aging infrastructure. But the hum persisted, weaving itself into the background noise of the tempest, a new, unsettling layer. She felt a profound sense of isolation, not just from humanity, but from the familiar scientific parameters she relied upon. The ocean, usually her domain of discovery, now felt like a vast, dark entity hiding something ancient and terrifying beneath its churning surface. She tried to record the new sound, but her systems seemed to struggle. The audio files corrupted, filled with static and an inexplicable distortion that mirrored the hum. The hum evolved. It began to carry a strange, sibilant undertone, like a whispered language just beyond the threshold of human hearing. Sarah, her concentration wavering, replayed the hydrophone recordings, pushing the volume, desperate to decipher the elusive sounds. She heard what sounded like faint, elongated cries, not animalistic, but something far more disturbing, echoing from the abyssal depths. Her equipment began to malfunction in subtle ways. The automated robotic arm, designed for water sample retrieval, suddenly extended, then retracted on its own, a jarring, metallic scrape in the quiet lab. She stared at it, her heart pounding, then checked the logs. No command issue, no system error, just an inexplicable autonomous movement. She felt an overwhelming sense of dread, a chilling certainty that she was no longer alone in her sterile, isolated facility. The sea outside grew even more violent, its waves crashing against the cliff face with primal force, as if trying to break in. Her computer screen, monitoring the sonar, displayed fleeting, ghost-like shapes, barely there, but undeniably present, flitting across the deep-sea readings. She squinted, trying to make sense of them, but they vanished as quickly as they appeared, leaving only the endless blue of the ocean depths. Her logical mind fought against the growing terror, seeking a scientific explanation, any explanation, for the impossible events unfolding around her. A sudden, violent tremor shook the entire facility, rattling her instruments and sending coffee mugs crashing to the floor. It wasn't seismic. The reading showed no ground movement. It felt localized, as if something immense had impacted the cliff directly beneath the lab. She scrambled to her feet, peering out into the maelstrom, but saw only the churning blackness of the ocean and the lashing rain. Her eyes snapped back to the main sonar screen. The vast, organic anomaly was no longer just a pulse. It was growing, expanding, a colossal shape manifesting from the depths, its edges indistinct, but its presence undeniable. A profound sense of vertigo struck her, as if the very facility was being pulled into the abyss. Then, a voice, clearer than the whispers, spoke directly into her mind. It was a chorus of ancient, despairing voices, speaking a language she did not understand, yet the meaning was horrifyingly clear. Awakening. She pressed her hands to her ears, trying to block out the intrusive sound, but it was internal, inescapable. The air in the lab grew heavy, thick with the scent of brine, and something else, something fetid and ancient, like rot from the deepest ocean trenches. The security lights flickered wildly, threatening to give out completely. She felt an unseen pressure building around her, an insidious force attempting to crush her will, to drag her down into the cold, black depths that stretched endlessly beyond the storm-lashed windows. The pressure intensified, a physical weight that made it hard to breathe, as if the entire ocean was pressing down upon the facility. Sarah stumbled, grasping at her console for support, her hands shaking uncontrollably. The hum from the deep, now a palpable vibration, resonated through the floor and walls, rattling her teeth. The sonar screen flickered violently, then resolved into an image that stole her breath. Not just an anomaly, but a colossal, intricate structure, impossibly vast, alien, and undeniably artificial, yet organic, spiraling up from the deepest trench. It was surrounded by countless smaller, faster-moving shapes, swarming around it like pilotfish around a leviathan. These were the ghost-like shapes she had glimpsed earlier, now undeniable entities. The hum deepened, transforming into a mournful wail, a sound of unimaginable sorrow and ancient power. We awaken, no longer just a chorus, but a singular, piercing thought. We awaken. We rise. She felt a sudden, agonizing cold spread through her veins, a chill that froze her from the inside out. The monitors around her sparked, circuits overloaded, then died, one after another, until only the main sonar screen remained, its eerie green glow the sole source of light in the increasingly dark lab. The storm outside seemed to respond, the wind whipping into a frenzy, tearing at the facility, as if the ocean itself was lashing out in a fit of primeval rage, orchestrating the coming of its ancient inhabitant. Sarah desperately tried to establish communication, grabbing her emergency satellite phone. She punched in Dr. Evans' number, her fingers fumbling with the keys, but the screen only displayed no signal, the words a stark, mocking judgment. The facility's internal communication system was dead, the radio silent, spitting only static. She was utterly alone, cut off from the world, trapped in a metallic shell on the edge of a monstrous awakening. The colossal structure on the sonar screen continued its ascent, closer, ever closer, its shadow stretching across the abyssal plain. The wailing from the deep grew deafening, a symphony of torment and power that vibrated through her very bones. She could feel the building groaning, not from the storm, but from something pulling at its foundations, an unseen force testing its structural integrity. The emergency lights in the corridor outside her lab, which had been flickering, finally gave out, plunging the hallway into impenetrable blackness. She spun around, her flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive gloom, but it was futile. The facility was becoming a tomb, illuminated only by the malevolent green glow of the sonar screen, which showed the colossal entity breaching the abyssal floor, its unfathomable form now clearer, more terrifying. She saw what looked like massive, sinuous tendrils, hundreds of them, uncoiling from the central mass, reaching, searching, their sheer scale defying all comprehension. The air filled with the coppery tang of ozone and a sickening, musky odor from the depths. The colossal entity on the sonar screen breached the abyssal floor, its incomprehensible form filling the entire display, a nightmare made manifest. Massive, sinuous tendrils, hundreds of them, uncoiling from the central mass, reaching, searching, their sheer scale defying all comprehension. The faint green glow from the screen flickered, struggling, as the power grid groaned, failing under the inexplicable strain. Sarah gasped, a terrified whisper lost in the cacophony of the storm and the rising hum. The lab's reinforced windows, designed to withstand hurricanes, began to flex inward, slowly, terrifyingly, under an immense, unnatural pressure from outside. She saw a glimmer in the black depths beyond the glass, a colossal, bioluminescent eye, utterly ancient and malevolent, staring directly into the facility, directly at her. "Join us!" A tendril, thicker than the facility itself, slammed against the cliff face, the entire building shuddering violently. Glass shrieked, then shattered, not from the windows, but from the main display case of a rare deep-sea specimen, sending shards flying across the room. She was thrown to the floor, her head hitting the cold metal. As her vision blurred, she saw the main sonar screen explode in a shower of sparks, plunging the lab into absolute darkness. But the single, immense eye remained, burning through the shattered window, its light now filling the entire room, an ancient, consuming presence. The last thing Sarah felt was a crushing, unimaginable pressure, not just on her body, but on her very soul, as the Bar Harbor Marine Research Facility succumbed to the abyss, swallowed whole by the awakening horror from the deep.